We're going to record it on this computer. There we go, and we have progress.
Yeah. And
Look
we
at
have
that.
New
It's
York.
Thursday,
It's a
and
it's
here
a
we are. How did we
we
do?
don't we we don't even have a name for it. You think it would be a thick Thursday or a thoracic Thursday or a thumbs up Thursday, but we got no name for it because we don't do Thursdays except today when we're doing it because we couldn't do Wednesday. We were both on the road.
Mikey, this meeting is being live streamed. There you go.
There
You
you
know,
go.
the Facebook here, that's why Mikey, the Facebook is acting, it now has a mind of its own.
Really?
It now does what it wants to do. Actually, yeah, actually, we recorded this yesterday, but it's not letting you see it until Thursday.
This is the world we live in. I'm comfortable in it because I never know what's going on. Never have. That's why I'm the sick sidekick.
Oh, no, see, I thought I was the sick sidekick because I really don't know what's going on.
Well, we're gonna need a leader then.
Oh yeah, well,
Be,
I don't know anybody that I want to stick in the middle. To be honest with you.
no, there's no room in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe we get somebody to the left, maybe we get somebody to the right, but it's just too small. I'm looking at the screen, the monitor right now, and I can see that space right there
Yeah,
is not big enough.
not big enough for a whole nother person, especially someone who's a wise guy. No way.
Yeah, you couldn't slide. So, I mean, I have suggestions of who I would put in there, but to be honest with you, it just doesn't look like a big enough space.
The thing is, you put somebody in there, the day you do it, you're gonna have to get them out. You can't say exactly when, but it's gonna have to happen.
And then you have to feed them on top of it. Hang on a second.
Oh, I hope we don't have to
Okay.
feed them.
Uh, no, yeah, you got to feed these people. You know what? If
But
I if I want to go with anybody, I'm gonna go with. You can't see that. I'm gonna go with Daisy. Daisy comes down for the show about quarter to 10. She starts to howl outside the door.
I want to
Oh!
be part of the show. Let me in. You got to let me in. I want to be let in. I want
And
to be
Daisy's
there.
here. She doesn't do anything when she's here. Not normally. Every once in a while, she'll come and sidle up to my leg or something, but she just prefers to listen mostly. And
She's a professional golden retriever. Am I right?
she is a no, she's a professional wackadoodle or what are they? I don't even know. Hang
Okay,
on a second.
got
Let
you,
me
dude.
let me. I'm going to give you. Uh, if I can do this here, I'm going to give you a little shot of. No, we don't want to do that. We want to give you. Okay, we got the blur. We don't want to blow the
I think
background.
it's cute. I think it's
Okay,
very cute that she howls until she gets her Vinnie.
right.
There
Okay,
she
so
is.
can you see it down there?
I see her down there. Good job, Daisy. Good girl.
She is producing the show. As we speak,
Uh,
Daisy is taking phone calls and telling everybody that Mikey and Vinny just don't have enough time to talk to you today.
The boys will take calls at 20 after
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Tuesday
Call us back on Tuesday at 20 after.
and
So
wear your Beatles shirt
we're calling this today Mikey and Vinny Thursday. Yes, Thursday. Because
because
I,
that's just the way it is.
yeah, I think that's a good way to go. I like the whole Thursday, yes, Thursday idea because it includes a question, our names, and an answer.
And the whole idea is if we can't do the show correctly on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Vladimir Putin calls out 300,000 guys who also can't do it, but at least he calls them out. Get out there, do the show, be like Mikey and Vinny, be somebody, do something. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 past 10. Anybody can do that. So 300,000 guys that have never done it before certainly will do it well.
Well, Mikey, I know he's going to call up. How many you say? 300,000, right?
He said 300,000, so that's a lie.
Right. First of all, does he have 300,000 to call up? No. So what is he
No.
doing? He's having a referendum that says that these parts of the Ukraine are now part of Russia, and so
Just like that.
you guys, we're going to take 300,000 from you guys. That's like us saying going up to Canada and saying, listen, Manitoba and Saskatchewan are now part of the United States, and can 300,000 guys line up because we want to send you over to Afghanistan?
But first, we're going to send you to Alabama for training.
And they were okay with Afghanistan, but once you mentioned Alabama,
We had problems.
yeah, then they said, well, wait a second, hey, this
What
we
happened was the simplest way to put it, Vinny, is their attitude changed dramatically. They were doing fine. The whole idea about Mobile, Alabama did not resonate that well with the Canadians. They didn't know exactly where it was, but they knew they didn't want to go there.
and these are snowbirds. These are people who are ingrained ingrained to fly south for the winter. They're like birds.
They would go if it were Pensacola. That's pretty close to Mobile.
Yeah, it's probably not too far. So yeah, I mean, well, you know what? You could, if you were the governor of Florida or the governor of Texas, you could say to them, well, we're going to send you to Mobile. It's just like Pensacola. Here's a little pamphlet, shows you all the drive-ins,
And
drive-throughs, and driving people out. And you hand them the pamphlet, you put them on a bus, and you send them.
why does my promotional T-shirt say "Welcome to Martha's Vineyard"?
Don't worry about, well, you don't read English anyway. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're Canadians. What do you know about English? Forget about it.
You're Canadian. You don't know what's going on.
Hi, I'm Ron DeSantis, along with
And I'm Mr. Abbott, the guy in the wheelchair that says, I'm going to screw this country up
as best I can, as fast as I can.
as quickly as I can. I'm going to show you that it doesn't matter whether you are disabled or enabled, that you can be just as much of a screw up as anybody else.
Hi, I'm Ron DeSantis. I dodged the law. I wonder how long I can get away with it. Who's on the list between me and Trump? Who's on the list that keeps me out of jail?
There's really nobody. Me, I'm the guy, Mr. Abbott over here, because I'm going to do something that's going to be worse that you're going to do. And now we got federal people looking at us all down here.
It's true enough, and the local sheriffs are testifying against them.
Yeah, you know what? When the local sheriff in Texas is going after the governor of Florida, it gets a little. It's time for a civil war. Not that, no. Let me take that back. It's not time. It smells like a civil war is brewing. That's
Smells
what it smells like.
Smells like teen war. Well,
And I got to be honest with you, I don't like that.
it's not a good smell.
I don't like that at all. I don't like the idea of it. I don't like. I mean, just in the races that you see around the country, just in the politicians, look at the change we've seen in politicians. And there was a time when people went toward politicians to have them kiss their baby. Now, I wouldn't let my baby come within 15 feet of half of these people that are running.
Keep your children, and in fact, keep your family away from these politicians.
Keep your disease. Keep what I mean, really.
And we thought that you folks are going to like us, that you would welcome us. But now that we're willingly conducting criminal enterprises to get elected, some people are taking a dim view of that. So America, remember, just because Donald Trump looks like he's going to jail doesn't mean I have to go. Why would I go to jail? What would I do when I got there? Make license plates, t-shirts for Martha's Vineyard.
Keep your eye on the ball, America. Keep your eye on the ball.
Yesterday, and this will resonate with you because it's a phrase you've heard before, Donald Trump and his sons and daughter were described as a white-collar crime family, organized to commit everything that they do, at every level of their organization.
Yeah.
They're cheating you, stealing from you, lying to you, marketing past their ability to deliver to you, taking cash, taking money for a university that didn't exist, taking money for charities that don't exist, taking money for a future that will never happen, taking money on the promise that things are going to change when Donald Trump becomes president again. All these are lies. All these are riffs. They're grifters. They're liars. They're thieves. They're bullies. They're Svengalis. Each and every one of them, including Uday and Uday and Blondie.
Anybody, listen, anybody that knew these guys, anybody that knew of them, anybody that ever did business with them could tell you this, not in 2016, but in 2004.
Since 1956.
2006.
Our hand in your pocket since 1959.
Yeah, I mean, the Trump organization has been, from dad to son to sons, the whole thing has been built on what we could steal, what we could get, what we could organize ourselves to get out of the city, what kind of back and they were done so badly and with such inability to cover up their tracks that many people in New York, many developers in New York, the Tishmans and the people that really stood behind the money in New York didn't want anything to do with them.
No,
Didn't want anything.
because that was real money. Donald Trump had invented some money, but Tishman and the other boys, that was real money. And they didn't want to
Right,
play with money from Queens.
right. That was money that was coming from the old money. Now it's easy to say, well, Donald Trump did something. He spit in the face of all of these people and he built an empire for himself. But what is this
Whatever.
empire built on?
Of
Is it
course.
built on trust? Is it built? No, it's built on bullying. It's built on payoffs. It's built on scandal. And that's so when they call it an organized crime family, um, without a doubt, he everything he has done is if you go read whose book is it on Gotti? Is it Nicholas Pileggi? I forget who. Somebody wrote a book on Gotti, not the movie, but the book. Go read the book, and then go read any Trump book where he talks about himself, the art of the deal, me, whatever, and go look at the similarities in what's there and how they operate. It's the same thing. It's nothing that is different from how these people, except with the possible exception, and I still don't believe this to be true, that Trump hasn't had anybody killed. We don't
Not to
know yet.
say not to say that somebody hasn't died because of it directly responsible to actions that he's responsible for.
Right. If you take now, if you want to include the million that died because of COVID, yeah,
Yeah.
then you have that. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you want to be generous to Trump. Trump hasn't sat outside the Ravenite Social Club in New York and held his hand over his mouth like this and said, go get Joe Biden." He's
He
tried.
can
They've
do
tried in different ways, but they haven't. And I don't believe that. I mean, it would be hard for me to believe that Trump, excuse me, Trump would do that, only because he's so afraid of going to jail. I mean, this guy is really afraid of going to jail.
he should be afraid of going to jail because the Attorney General of New York doesn't have to say anything more. She can just say, here's the papers. Look, here's what he said it was worth. Here's what it is worth. Here's what he said he'd do. Here's what he did do. Here's what he signed. Here's what he signed. Here's what he swore to as truth. Here's when he lied. Here's when his son lied. Here's when the other son lied. Here's when Blondie lied. Here's when Uday went down the street and said, I can't do it, but he could do it. Here's everything that we said he did, and it's all in paper. We don't even have to stand up on our hind legs and argue about this. Read the paper, case closed, he's guilty.
It is amazing to me that I was watching he did an interview on Fox. Trump did an interview on Fox yesterday, and
Is
I,
that
I
where he recognized, is that when he declassified items with his mind?
right, right, right. Well, yeah, yeah. He declassified items with his mind, which that is, right there is the sign of a sick man.
I
But
would say.
also the disclaimer that he says, well, when I did put up these proposals for the banks and this and that and the other thing, I wrote a disclaimer on the front that said, have your own people look, have your own people measure, have your own people do this, do that, right? But yet he put what those facilities were, the measurements and everything else, the construction, all that, into his document. But he said, "Don't trust me," on the front of that. This stuff could all be a bunch of bull, and he thinks that exonerates him.
Because don't, in fact, what he's saying is, I'm going to lie to you. I'm telling him I'm going to lie to you. Then I'm going to lie to you and tell you that I did lie to you. And it's your fault for not checking these figures. I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you the truth. You should have checked.
Now you know why his presidency ran the way it ran.
ran beautifully if you were a liar and a murderer and a
Yeah,
thief.
I mean, if you were um, somebody running an auto repair shop in Brooklyn that liked to cheat people
That's how you
and
do it.
sell them stuff that they didn't need, it ran perfectly. It all made sense to you. If you were somebody who said, "Okay, I'm going to sell you this car. How much you want me to make you the bill of sale out for, so
Yeah.
you can evade taxes?" So okay, I'm selling you the car for 5,000, but I'll give you a bill of sale for 1,000. This way, when you go to the motor vehicles to pay the taxes, you only pay taxes on 1,000. Most people have done it, right? But you know, uh, but not at that level, at that federal level. But if
Well,
you
but
see that,
part of that problem is you get at least you get the $1,000 or the $5,000. You arrive at a price, but with Donald Trump, you never get paid for anything.
well, even if you do get paid, there's still this accepted fraud that goes on. And the people who love this guy are generally people who have an accepted fraud in their life background. Oh, I got this refrigerator in my truck. It fell off another truck. I got it. You want it? You want to buy it? We'll give it to you for 100. Instead of the 1,000 that it's worth, or whatever. But what this really hits me up as in my mind, it says the people that back him are people who have done fraudulent things in their life. Now, I'm not saying I haven't. I don't know if you can say you haven't. Everybody at some point in time has cheated on their taxes, paid less money, walked away from a cashier when they saw they give too much money. Not things that I do, or maybe things that I would have done when I was younger, but I don't do now because I've become more honest. But there's a piece of that out there, and that's why people look at Trump and say, he's not doing anything wrong. What's he doing that I haven't done? And therein lies his popularity and his license to steal from people.
Well, let's look at the list of things that he might have done that the average person hasn't done. Has the average person ever seen or read a highly classified secret document, taken it home with him and left it on the kitchen sink?
Has the average person ever sat in a boss in an office where the guy has gotten up and walked away, the guy that's in there, and you've leaned over the desk and looked at what was on his desk?
It's the setup, but you should not do it anyway.
You should right. You shouldn't do it, but I'm sure if undercover boss or something, a candid camera set up on this, that 50% of the people would do it, even maybe 25%. But there's a large. It wouldn't be 1%. It wouldn't be 2%.
But whatever the percentage would be of the number of people who would do that, one, they're looking at something that's not theirs. What do they hope to gain by it? Donald Trump always has something to gain.
Right, right.
What would
Well, they
Donald
hope
Trump?
to gain knowledge.
What would Donald Trump or anybody in his club gain by having secret documents that shows the nuclear capabilities of Brazil or Israel?
Well, here's the funny thing. Well, not so funny, I guess. But there were news reports. I saw them. That, as a matter of fact, there was one. I think it was a report out of New York where there was a reporter sitting in the 45 Club, which is his bar
Right.
in his building in New York, and there in a glass case behind her was one of those classified folders. There was
Imagine
nothing
that.
in it, but I think Trump thinks that he's going to start the Hard Rock cafes of Trump instead of I don't know, Ainsley Dunbar's guitar sitting up there or something. He's going to have like one of his pens or something, or a piece of classified document or something like that. Maybe it's redacted. Maybe it's just a folder, but something to show you how important he is.
He never ever put the document back into the right folder. For all the things he can do, that's something he cannot do. He cannot do it.
Because he's an idiot. He
He's an
can't
idiot.
do anything.
But he wants to leave those documents out of the folder because he can't declassify them with his mind if they're in the folder. Too much interference. Those folders are made of manila envelopes. They're very difficult to think through.
Well, why should he when he has supposedly has people around him that was supposed to do that stuff for him? But at this point in time, does he have anybody left that can do it? Is anybody with him saying, okay, Donald, we'll put this all back. Okay, Mr. President, we'll do this. Okay. I don't think he has that staff. I think a lot of people have said, I don't need this stuff.
He's got nobody. Now, Ricardo, the pool boy, does some work around the apartment, just
Right.
tidying up. But he can't be counted upon to put the right document back in the right folder. We've asked him. He's just that's not up to his skill level. We know Trump can't do it. We know Uday and Uday can't do it. Blondie's never around. The tall Krasner guy, whatever his name is, Kirshner, he won't do it.
Jared, yeah.
Jared's capable, but he won't do it. He just won't
Well,
do it.
Jared's mad because they figured that they would try to fire him on a Saturday so he wouldn't know about it until Sunday.
But he was with the company long enough to go make his deal with Saudi Arabia for what $300 million of personal money to
Right, here's your severance. Go get it from the Saudis. You go cut this deal. We'll get it through. Boom.
But here's my experience with the Saudis. When they want something really, really, really badly, and they want it back, and they want their payments on their initial payment to you, my advice is come through with the money rather quickly, spirited, because they'll send the boys over who, the ones with the bone saws and the
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah. Their view of enforcing law or enforcing agreements is somewhat different than the one that we hold here in the United States.
They're in a hurry. Oh, there goes the foot. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. We were going to talk first, but now it's too late. So you want the other foot, or shall we talk then?
Right. They tend to, if you see guys walking around and wave hello to you like this, it's because they've
They've
not made
experienced
the
it.
payment on time. Boy, when they
They,
repossess a car in Saudi Arabia, they don't fool around, man.
that's not all they repossess. They repossess your ring, your wristwatch, up to the elbow, perhaps. They have,
Right.
they
They
have,
take, they take, they take a body. They got to come back not only with all the body parts on the car, but one of your body parts in the car as well.
and it must be proven to be yours. So, you sign it before we just sign it and date it here, please.
Yeah, and I don't wish no harm on anybody, any harm on anybody, but good Lord, man, uh, those are people you don't want to play with because see what we forget is we've been around for what 250 years. These people have been doing this since the
Since the dawn of
primordial
time.
ooze.
It's been a while. It's been
Yeah,
a
I
while.
mean they've been around.
Since
They've
way
done
since way
this.
since way before Saudi Arabia had thought of, hey, why don't we have a king? We got the sand, we got the water, we got the oil. What we don't have is a king and a royal family. And how many people can be in a royal family? Well, in our royal family, a couple grand.
Everybody.
Everybody you can think of. Anybody driving a Mercedes, beep, you're in the royal family.
Yeah, so everybody's selling their BMWs now. If you want to have a gaudy, a gaudy kind of mansion on Sunset, I think it was Sunset, right?
It was on Sunset with the statues with the pubic hair painted.
Yes, go forth and have fun.
Little angels on all the pillars on facing sunset.
Remember the first time I saw that, man? I was like, no, really?
And what they wanted to know is everybody in Beverly Hills has questionable taste. What the hell happened to your idea of what is right and what is wrong? It's
Well, we figured
beautiful.
we'd just come in here and take this to a different level.
It's beautiful. It's fabulous. It's well painted. It's a little different, but we ain't from here.
And they had to block off Elena Sunset all the time so that you could, because everybody was pulling over taking pictures. And there was no cell phones in those days. So
No,
you had to actually go and get a camera and actually go take pictures of it.
and that's what they did.
And there are many pictures. Can you imagine if that thing was around today? You'd block off all 6 lanes of Sunset, man.
Not anymore. I don't think it stands there any longer.
Oh no, no, I'm saying, but if it was today, If,
Oh yeah.
if, if that thing stood there today, you'd block off Sunset A to Z, man.
Well, that's why the Saudis are so interested in the slave trade, because if you don't have a statue or someone who can make you a statue, you just get someone to stand there all day.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It's a good job compared to
Well, I
some.
don't know if it's a good job, but you really don't have. There's no 2 week notice.
And you don't, and you do stand there on Christmas. It's but with a neck warmer.
Right. When you give 2 weeks notice, that means the clock's ticking on you to die. I mean, that's it. Well, I'm going on vacation. Yeah, right.
You are. As a matter of fact, you are.
You are a nice long vacation. Just ask that journalist guy. No, the Saudis are. It amazes me how much we as Americans line up with these people, and we scream about what Putin's done, yet we look at the Saudis and we call them our friends, all because of what? Oil.
Oil.
All because of oil.
And
All because
what's the
they
one
have it.
and what's the one thing that Putin has? The one
Oil.
thing that he has, yeah. So we should be best friends.
Well, Putin's smart enough, I guess, in some ways, to say as long as I have the oil, I don't need you to be my best friend, or you, or you, or you.
No, Germany will be my best friend. They'll pay
Germany
in
will
cash.
always be my best friend, even though they tried to come in and take us over at one time because
They had
Hitler
a
knew that he needed the oil.
I can tell you that on paper it was a takeover, but it was not that well executed.
No, it was a very badly. You had to wonder what the hell the Hitler was thinking.
Well, everybody knew from Alexander the Great to Adolf Hitler, they knew that you can't fight a war on two fronts. You
Right.
cannot do it. Bad things happen. Things that you don't expect to happen will happen. Unexpected tragedies occur on a daily basis, and you can't respond to them because you're fighting a war on two fronts with two armies and two countries. Nope, nope, that does not work. So who tried it?
Well,
Adolf. Adolf, of course.
because he figured he was smarter than everybody else.
Now, who emulated that just in Ukraine? Ukraine's not the biggest country in the world. It's a big country, but still, you can't fight a war in Ukraine on the eastern front and on the southern front. You can't.
Yeah, it's ludicrous, and to watch. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of war by any means, but there is a certain satisfaction in watching the Ukrainians push him back. I do wonder what it's going to ultimately lead to, because I wonder how just absolutely crazy Putin is. Enough that is he enough that he would pull the yeah that he would hit the switch, hit the button.
I think someone's going to hit his own switch. I think that what we're seeing in just this week in terms of riots in the streets, demonstrations, commentators on national television, press members, his relationship is fraying drastically between India and China. Both of them saying, "What did you do? You didn't have to do this. You insisted on it. You told everyone you were going to do it. We said no. You said you had to do it, and you did it. And look what happened.
Well,
You're done.
for
Your
life of me, I can't
judgment."
understand why China even let him do it. Why China didn't say to him, "If you do this, we're going to take care of you," because the last thing China wants is for the United States to stop doing business with China.
We're the number one.
Yeah, China's basically our Ohio now. Everything that we get produced is produced there, and it's raised their economic status. It's raised their standard of living in China far beyond. I mean, go back and look at a World War II movie that features China in it. There's a million of
And
them.
and the
And go
premier
look at what it
and, the,
was.
and those leaders there don't say, "Screw it, I'm going to war." That's not what they're about. They don't need a war.
No, they need grain. They need to feed their people, feed themselves, and then maybe the people come next.
Yeah, you're damn right.
And now you have a system over there where it's not democracy, obviously, but it is a system where people can live in apartments and live a modern lifestyle, and probably do, as long as you don't go against the government, you could probably do okay for yourself over
If
there.
the reports I heard yesterday are accurate, Vinny, China and India both went to Putin and said, now look at the mess you're in. Why do you think you're in this mess? We told you this could happen. We told you this was a possible eventuality. We warned you not to do it. We said do this instead. We said try this instead. We said go to bed, think about it, and do something completely different. Be the hero of your nation instead of the destroyer of it. But that's not what he wanted. He wanted war. He wanted to destroy the Ukraine people. He wanted to destroy one village at a time, and he started doing just that. And then he couldn't even feed his own troops. And now the analysis that I read this morning was that of the 300,000 that he says he's going to call up, he doesn't have 300,000 reservists. If he had that many, he'd have used them already. What he has is a reserve which is like several steps below our National Guard, that's undertrained, underexperienced, too old, out of shape, can't be fed, can't be supported, can't get them jeeps. They don't know how to drive the tanks. They don't know how to shoot the missiles. They're worse than useless, and that's going to be his answer. But you know what? That sounds to me like that's the last act in a terrible opera. He's going to provide his own exit from the stage by destroying his army and destroying his reserve units, demoralizing his generals, and he's going to blame it on them. They know for a fact this next round is going to come down on them. I told you we were going to war. You weren't ready. So here's the price you have to pay.
Well, there's already reports that he's talking to generals in the field directly, that he's ordering them to do things directly. In other words, he's trumping it. He's doing exactly what Trump would have done. Is I know him better than the generals.
And where have we seen that before?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So my biggest concern now, and I would have to think the concern of the United Nations and everybody else in the world, is he so desperate? Is he so mentally deficient, let's say, that he says, well, let's just end it all and hit the button and blow a hole in the earth the size of Ukraine?
Don't you think they're watching him right now?
Well, I'm sure so. I hope somebody is. I hope there's somebody there that has a cooler head and is telling people, just as our generals did when Trump was in his last days. Don't worry, we're not going to shoot off any weapon. We're not going to shoot anything at you. We're not going to, because you really feel, and maybe it's just me, but you really feel like a strike, a preemptive kind of strike is in the wind. And you know what that means. I mean, if you hit them with missiles, disable their missiles, they got to come after you, right?
Or any other NATO target.
I just think that there has to be some kind of system there where somebody is watching Putin and saying, we're not going to let him get near the button.
Well, that has to be that sort of failsafe, because I don't know when's the last time we saw Putin, really actually saw him in person on television.
I think he got off a plane yesterday. Now, again,
but if he were missing for
tape you see, you gotta.
If he were thinking if he were not on television for 10 days, nobody would think of anything about that. You'd hear a press release. Putin says this. What's Putin thinking about? He's calling a meeting. He's getting ready. Well, it's been 10 days. Where is he? Well, I don't know. I guess he's in the house. He's
with the Girl Scouts. They're having their annual jamboree out on the lawn, and he's out there giving them medals.
They brought cake, and now he's giving
cookies,
medals out.
They brought all these cookies.
And they're not bad. They're not bad when you think about it.
Well, especially
the mint chip.
S'mores. Is that the one with the coconut and the chocolate?
Oh dear, s'mores.
No, not s'mores. S'mores. It's different. S'mores are the marshmallow and the chocolate. This one is chocolate and like a macaroon, like a coconut.
Ooh, I like that better. I don't like s'mores, actually.
I'm okay with s'mores. You can take them or leave them.
My problem is not the chocolate. My problem is marshmallows. I cannot abide by a marshmallow.
I like marshmallows in hot chocolate.
I can't ingest marshmallows. No, try whipped cream. Like a guy. Come on, put whipped cream in there.
You never had a fluffernutter?
What's that?
It's you take 2 pieces of white bread, or you can use whole grain if you'd like, and on one side of the bread you put fluff, and on the other side of the bread you put peanut butter, and then you put them together, and you have a fluffernutter.
Okay. I like peanut butter. What flavor fluff? Vanilla?
Well, there's only one flavor of fluff that I've seen. That's the marshmallow flavor, vanilla.
Can't
I
have
don't
that.
know particularly that anybody's ever messed with that combination.
I'm just gonna go with the peanut butter and the bread.
Yeah,
You can have my
only a
fluff.
nutter. It's
No,
not a fluffernutter.
I'm gonna have to make an adjustment then. Sorry. The marshmallow cannot pass my lips.
I'm just saying.
No, you've made a good pitch, and other people will try the marshmallows and say, "Vinny, wonderful idea." What, by the way, chunky or smooth peanut butter?
You can go with either. I'm a chunky peanut butter fan.
Oh, so am I, Vinny. We think alike again.
Yeah, I'm a chunky guy. I like the. Although I've really gotten to enjoy the honey roasted peanut butter that you can just buy in the bulk foods.
Hmm.
You go and you just put it in the container. Less fat, less sugar. Um, it's not processed. I mean, they just grind the nuts up there, and boom, put it
Nobody,
in.
nobody ever had a peanut butter. Nobody ever had a peanut butter sandwich, and then afterwards said, "Boy, I could eat. I'm starving over here." You're full of
I
peanut
think it's
butter.
probably one of the greatest foods invented, isn't it? Except if you have a peanut allergy.
If you have a peanut allergy, there's a downside.
But whenever we got peanut butter, and in the New York City public school system, I feel like I'm doing an opening to Law and Order. In the New York City public school system, one of the favorite dishes that they used to serve, and which I enjoy to this day, is orange marmalade and peanut butter,
Yeah,
whole wheat bread, along with tomato soup.
and these are their stories.
And these are their stories. And it was a perfect meal. I mean, I don't know what nutritionist figured this meal out. Not the same one who would serve chow mein, but because the chow mein was interesting. Uh,
Chow mein tasted somewhat Italian, didn't it? Didn't it taste a little bit like pasta?
well, there's a lot of people that will argue that no, see, but it didn't taste like pasta. Because chow mein in New York is different than chow mein you get out here. Chow mein out here, you get the noodles.
Right.
In New York, chow mein is almost like a not quite a soup, but it's kind of
It's a stew.
a stew that goes on top of rice, and
Oh,
then you put these hard noodles on top of it and some hot mustard. Chow mein traditionally is the cheapest thing because chow mein is literally grab everything you can off the shelves and stick it in the pot.
grab the chow and make it Maine.
And it's so that's the one thing that really shocked me. When I got out here, I ordered chow mein, and they brought me something that looked like a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa, that's not chow mein." And he says, "Oh, you're from East Coast." And then the guy explained to me. I never forget it. It was at the Hong Kong on Church and Market. That little Chinese restaurant that was there. It's the first place I ever had Chinese food in when I lived here, when I moved here. I had it in Chinatown before that, at Edsel Ford Fong and those places. But it's the first time anybody explained it to me what it was. You go with a bunch of friends, you order some stuff, they bring it to the table. You don't know what the hell is what, except if you ordered a Peking duck.
What are you guys doing? We're making the chow. We're going to put it on the Maine here in a minute. What's Maine? Well, it depends where you're from. It's noodles if you're from here. It's rice if you're from there.
It's like anything. You know what it is? It's anything you want it to be, my friend. It's $7.95 for the small, $10.95 for the large, and it's anything you want it to be.
Fill you right up. You want chunky peanut butter with that? You can have chunky
That's
peanut butter.
that's exactly what it is, Mikey. It's chunky peanut butter. It's the Chinese version of chunky peanut butter. It fills you up. You can run an army on it. You
Now you
can
see,
feed.
the Chinese don't want any part of Vladimir Putin's world because it doesn't work. People don't get fed. No one can eat. Everyone is starving. Everyone is angry. What do the Chinese want? They want a sensible dinner. They want something that they can enjoy with the family around the wonderful Chinese cuisine, which is thousands of years old and has everything that you need. You want meat, you want fish, you want rice, you want noodles. What do you want? You want vegetables?
1,000-year-old eggs.
You want it to be hot, you want it to be cold, you want it to be in the middle. We got all that stuff. Everybody eats. Everybody eats Chinese food.
Right. And Putin wants it to be 1973. You know, that's what Putin wants. Putin wants it to be 1973. He wants the old Soviet Union back and people standing in lines for. I mean, there's no plausible reason that he did this.
And 1973 was not such a pretty time. Ruski car, she don't work. Ruski limousine. Ruski
Yeah.
limousine, she don't work.
I mean, now you had, I mean, at least today, before this all started, you had all these corporations that were investing money in Russia. People saw it as the next big market. All the automakers were trying to establish um, ties over there, solid ties.
And McDonald's was teaching them how to make cheeseburgers, but they didn't listen.
They didn't listen. And there's a great video, by the way, on YouTube of a guy who goes into the new whatever the Sigorsky or whatever it is now, and samples the food. And he's like, "Oh my god!" They serve up like a shake in a 10-ounce cup, and he says, "This is not shake. This
This is
is
not
sour
shake.
milk."
This is not shake, not shake. At home in Spolpakia, we have shake.
And I'm trying to, first of all, I'm trying to figure out how the hell he got this video out of there, out of the Soviet Union, because I can't imagine that Putin would have watched this and said, "Oh, it's so funny."
It's so funny. Yeah. He looked angry yesterday. I don't know if you saw his speech. I was just watching his lips.
Yeah, he
He
always looks
was
pissed off.
he was
Well,
angry.
yeah, I mean, have you ever seen him look happy except when he was bouncing his titties out there with the horse?
That was the last time. Also, when he chased the bear, he was happy. He never caught it though.
You know, you wish the bear would have caught him. I think is the thing. I don't know, Mikey.
Russian bears don't work any better than the Russian limousines.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I don't know where this is all going to go, but I do know that it's not headed toward a good place.
Well, if you were a mind reader and you could read the minds of all the Russian leaders, wouldn't a simple solution be the easiest for everybody? The hardest for Vladimir, the most difficult for him to deal with. But for the most part, that would be the end of their problem. The war would be a real war and they could end it. The government would be a real government and they could govern. Their financial and social relationship with the rest of the world could be restored and they could be people again. What do they want? The solution is really dramatically simple.
Yeah,
Someone's going to have to do it.
but
General
it's not
General
simple
Bolafia.
because you have a guy with such an ego, such an aggrandized vision of himself that he believes that nothing less than turning the Ukraine into a parking lot and killing as many people as you can will be his lesson to the world that you don't mess with the Russians.
Well, there's another lesson that comes from a guy just like that, whose name was Julius Caesar. He had a plan. It was beautiful. Unfortunately, he was hanging around with the senators. Never hang around with senators, okay?
They'll
They have
always
not
turn on you.
they have knives and they're not afraid to use them if they all use them at once. And so that was the deal. Who killed him? Well, nobody really killed him. Who was involved? Well, everyone was involved. Now what? Now we move on. We'll have a
Now we
nice
find
funeral.
somebody else.
We'll have a state funeral. It'll be cool.
My father used to say it all the time. Nobody's irreplaceable. Nobody's is irreplaceable. Nobody is. There's nobody. No matter how good they are, no matter how good they can fix a car, no matter how good they can do the books, no matter how good they are, there is nobody that is irreplaceable. You can find somebody to replace anybody. Being in the radio business, we know that all too well.
Remember the first baseman for New York Yankees? I can't remember. Artie Pip, something like that.
Wally Pip.
Wally Pip. He was a pretty good first baseman. You would say if you're playing first base for the Yankees, you've got a job.
Yeah,
Well, guess what?
until you don't anymore.
And he never played again, did he?
I don't know if he played it. I don't know that he. I'm sure he played. Well, he didn't play first base again. That's for sure. Not for, 3,300 something games. He didn't play first base. I boy, I can't remember now off the top of my head what he did after that. I think he was traded after that.
Yeah,
And
these days they trade him to the Angels.
but always remember that there's another guy named Babe Dahlgren.
Tell me that story.
Babe Dahlgren is the guy who replaced Lou Gehrig.
Whoa. Both ends of the stick, huh?
So no one is irreplaceable.
Otherwise, the Yankees would be playing without a first baseman to this day.
Right. As much as you want to look at Gehrig's history and everything he did and his streak, and the same thing with Ripken, somebody comes along and somebody replaces you. Life, the game of baseball, is built like that.
And we thought if Mickey Mantle can't pass Roger Maris, nobody's ever going to pass him. Nobody's ever going to hit that many home runs again. Well, of course, no one was as big as Aaron Judge, but there you have it.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing feat, and it's created kind of a war in baseball because now you have the people that like Barry Bonds and the people that don't like Barry Bonds. Now obviously, Judge isn't going to have the
The asterisk.
the time unless he goes hog wild to get to what is Barry Bonds 74, I think. I don't think he'll have enough time to get there.
Not this season.
Not this season, but it's interesting to watch how this is all kind of laying out among the sports writers, because how many sports writers are there that wouldn't acknowledge the fact that Barry Bonds, hit that many home runs?
Or
He's not my home run king.
Right.
It's Hank Aaron or it's Babe Ruth. Pretty old Daisy here, just let one go.
She's dreaming of chasing her prey down the street.
It sounds like she's dreaming of a pork and beans dinner. Whoa, Daisy. Good golly.
That's your wackerdoodle.
There you go. Anyway, well, Mikey,
I know. I'll see you on a Freaky Friday tomorrow.
now's the time to say goodbye to all our family. Mikey.
CHAELVINNE.
All right, man. I will see you more. Thank you for listening to a special Thursday, Mikey Vinnie Thursday. Yes, Thursday edition.
You can save it and play it back if we ever never do another Wednesday. Then you'll have something to watch.
Right. We're showing program directors across America our stamina.
We could do 5 days a week, but why should we set a precedent that can only be broken by somebody who wants to do 6 days a week?
And listen, radio is looking for people that will do 7 days a week.
Or 4. Yeah, the world is working on a 4-day work week, and radio can't figure out how to get people to work from home. If your chief engineer can't get your whole entire staff set up to work from home, get yourself an engineer. And remember, he can be replaced. We have proof of that in our stories today.
Well, they want a guy, let's face it, they want a guy or a woman who can sit in a staff meeting when they come in at 10:05 after their morning shift, lie back in the chair,
And there they go.
and just do that. And if they have to wake up, what would radio be without that person?
And that's the person that's going on the air after the meeting.
No, that's the one that just got off.
You can't tell them apart. They all sound alike. It's like sportscasters.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. So, anyway, all right, Mikey, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock?
See ya. It shall be done if the creek don't rise.
All right, peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Ben.
See you, Mikey.